4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What's up, Minnesota Vikings fans? Welcome back to another episode of House Calls. I'm your host, the Skull Doc. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Dave. This show is brought to you by Minnesota Sports Talk, and it's good to be back, Dave. Had to take a week off last week. We unfortunately had to put our sweet dog down, Jordan. She was 11 years old. She was the best dog we could have ever asked for. And we were pretty devastated after that, and I couldn't give it a go last Tuesday. But glad to be back and feeling much better. And those days are always tough, but the love that they give us is definitely worth the tough day at the end when you got to say goodbye. But good to be back, partner. Missed you.
Yeah, I was sad to hear that you had to put your dog down. It was unfortunate, man. Sorry to hear that.
Final act of love, right? So they don't, so they don't suffer. So it's a tough thing to do. But anyways, we're here to talk ball. So we got a lot to talk about because we took last week off, and we'll recap the playoffs so far and look forward to the rest of the playoffs in the Super Bowl. But I think we should start on a Vikings related note. And I think the topic that I would like to start with is Brian Flores. And there's been a lot of talk about Brian Flores getting a head coaching spot, potentially. He's interviewed with the Ravens. He's interviewed with the Steelers. He had his second interview today with the Steelers, which was completed. And so right now it's looking like those are the two options. I'm surprised the Raiders have not reached out to Brian Flores, requested an interview. So it's looking like that's not going to be a possibility there for him. And so just wanted to get your feelings on Brian Flores. What does your gut say? Is he staying? Is he going? Where are you on the Brian Flores situation?
Well, just because of the amount of jobs open, I probably was 80% like he's gone, maybe even as high as 90. But I'm like, I just realized Jordan, Chicago Bulls fan. Perfect.
Yeah, our dogs' names are Jordan and Pippen. It's very common here in Chicago.
It's my favorite athlete of all time. So he also interviewed with Washington for the defense coordinator job, right? And he was let out the door after every interview so far. So, and you'd think like the Steelers, if they're sure they're gonna, you'd think they would sign a guy, like not let him leave, So so that kind of makes me lower my expectations of him leaving and make it more like 60 now. Just because he's interviewed twice and he's been let out the door. So it's like, okay. That's my thoughts there. It's still. Has there been any other suitors? I was looking, I didn't see any.
Yeah, so he's not going to the Dolphins, the Titans, Falcons, Giants jobs have all been filled. He's suing the Giants, so that wasn't going to be a destination. The Bills job is currently open, but they're coming off a defensive.
Probably.
Yeah, right? I think they're going to go offense there.
And
so really, it comes down to Cardinals, Raiders, Ravens, Steelers.
And he already dissed the Cardinals by pulling us, 2 years ago or 3 years ago pulling out of that job.
Yeah, they have not requested him this go around. It seems like the Cardinals are closing in. I saw the name earlier. I forget who it was. Oh man, it's escaping me. Maybe somebody associated with Seattle, or the Rams defensive coordinator. I forget. But George, I'll get to your question in a little bit, buddy. But anyways,
medical segment.
It really looks like it's coming down to the Ravens or the Steelers, and I don't think the Ravens have had him back on a second interview. Now with the Steelers, he was recommended by Mike Tomlin, which I think carries some weight. But I don't know, man. It's just one of those things where, like, I got to see it to believe it, right? Because he's had so many interviews, but nobody's really took the shot on him. And I think he's coming back, Dave. I really do. I think he's coming back.
So, like, and again, like, Tomlin leaves, when we're like, God, he did such a good job for that 1 year D coordinator for us. I don't know. Maybe my memory escapes me, but I'm always saying that was the best defense of my lifetime. That I knew the Vikings existed. I mean, I was born in '73, so the Purple People Eaters, but I mean, I didn't know football back then. So, yeah, I always said it was the best defense. Williams Wall, all the great players on that team, and I just, just to have another defensive guru at the, leave to go be a head coach, probably win a Super Bowl, like like Tomlin did, and go on such success. Now, it kind of, and I guess it would carry weight because if I heard this right, that Tomlin actually stepped down, said it was time to go, and like his team starts crying and shit.
Yeah, that was true.
Okay, wow.
Yep. And
Yeah.
if a
Maybe
team
it's
wants Tomlin, they would have to trade for him because his contract is still active. I think Dave might have froze. I think your camera
Oh,
froze, Dave.
did it?
There you go. Yeah, there you go. You're in and out.
Oh, okay.
Now there was an episode today on Purple Daily where Judd and Thor were talking and speculating about, why aren't the Vikings being more proactive about searching for a defensive coordinator at this time? Because we have teams actively pursuing Flores, but also Durante Jones, our backup defensive coordinator, our pass game coordinator, who was likely the lead candidate from in-house to take over for Flores. He's got a lot of interest, including the Packers. I think the Cardinals have talked to him as well as Cowboys. So he's going to be a defensive coordinator next year. The question is for whom? Now, my stance on this is the Vikings don't have to let him leave until they know what's going on with Flores. So I think they're letting Durante go out there and talk to teams, drive his market up, figure out contract information. And in the event that Flores does accept a head coaching job, I think the Vikings would pay Durante Jones and he would be our defensive coordinator. That's what my gut says.
So, someone correct me, right? So I imagine he's under contract or something. Would that be true? Because you can leave it you can talk to other teams as long as it's a upward mobility, right? So
that's correct.
Right. So doesn't that mean he can also just accept a job if he's offered it?
I think technically the Vikings would have the opportunity to offer the same promotion and keep him. So that's the loophole. I think there's a matching situation.
Flores, we couldn't wait.
Yeah. I think ultimately the Vikings can drag their feet on this a little bit, and it's not like Durante Jones, has to accept the job. Now the other teams could pull their offer if the Vikings, wait out too much, but I really do feel like we'll have this Flores answer within the next week. So as the dominoes fall, I think we'll find out about Brian Flores first. The Durante Jones decision is going to come immediately after that, and so forth. Now, on the show, they were speculating that they were upset that it seems like the Vikings aren't doing their homework. They haven't heard the Vikings reach out to so-and-so. Who would they be interested in the event that Durante Jones and Brian Flores both leave, right? It's typical sky is falling type stuff. But in my mind, it's very clear that the Vikings
don't leak.
No, they don't leak. But it's very clear that they're not lying to us. They want Brian Flores back. They know how important that man is. So they're just waiting the situation out. Why would they go flirt with some other girl, per se, when the one you want to marry is right here in front of you? Like that's a bad look, man. So
yeah, I mean,
let it play out.
You like someone that much, you're gonna wait for him, right?
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with that. And it does kind of suck that you could lose your second choice, right?
Potentially
choice, but
I still don't know if that's true because the Vikings have to grant permission to interview. I'm sure the Vikings are telling Durante, like, listen, you are our guy if Flores leaves. Like, just give us a week.
Yeah, I always just thought, like, if they're offered a upward mobility that they have to. I don't know. I don't know the rule.
Well, I keep seeing these tweets where it says these teams are requesting permission to talk to Durante
Well, they do.
Jones.
Yeah,
about
I
DC.
mean, if they're under
So
contract, they do, but
mhm,
you're it's like, but it's upward mobility. Yeah, I don't know, because I know there's been people that in the past where we said no, you can't, and it was because it would have been a sideways job, right? Like
right,
Flores going to Washington. He's not. He won't be under contract because this is the end of his contract, right? So he can talk to
correct,
whoever he wants.
correct.
Um, but yeah,
Now I don't see Flores taking a lateral move, and people
no.
have asked me, well, why would he take that interview? Why would he even interview for the DC job? And my answer to people has been number one, it drives up the market, it drives up his value, and it opens up the pocketbook even more, right? More offers equals more money. Why wouldn't you do that? That's just good business sense. But number two, it's all about networking. If he's offered any interview, he should take it, get in front of these people, sell himself, right? Because you never know if that Commander's head coaching job opens up next year. Now,
What?
guess who had FaceTime with the owner and that staff just this offseason? Maybe they consider him for a head coaching job next year if that opens
Well,
up.
and
So
that's the
it's
thing.
always about staying in
If
front
you
of people.
if you interview in Washington, that coach might, he didn't have a good year this past year, right? So just interviewing in Washington kind of gives you like, hey, maybe they'll think about me when they need a head coach, so they've already interviewed me. It's just getting yourself known out there, getting, and he says he's grown since being a head coach, and I think he has.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he's been nothing but just a pure professional for the Vikings. I hate when you see YouTube channels saying like there's some sort of beef between him and O'Connell. I don't see it.
No, I just
I
think he
honestly
wants
think
to
they
be a
have a
head
great
coach.
relationship.
Yeah. I think he
Yeah,
just wants to be a head coach somewhere.
I got a guy. He used to be. I've had him on my show before, and I love him, but he does some little sensationalism, and he's like saying he's gonna give him the double bird on his way out the door. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
not what he's about, man. I don't. It
I mean,
kills me when I see that.
Raymond brought up the point. We just said this, that there's so many job openings.
Yeah.
There's a good chance he gets one of these jobs. But Ray, I want you to tell me what job you think he gets. Right now, the leader in the clubhouse is the Steelers. He's had a second interview with the Steelers. Okay, and if there's one place he's going to, I think it's the Steelers. But again, he has not interviewed to date with the Raiders. Okay, it seems like the Raiders have other people they're looking at. The Cardinals, he has not interviewed with the Cardinals. It seems like they are looking elsewhere. The Dolphins, he's suing the Dolphins. He's not going there. He was head coach of the Dolphins. It ended poorly. He's not going there. The Giants, he's suing the Giants. They already have Harbaugh. He's not going there. The Bills, I don't think he's going to the Bills because number one, they haven't reached out to him yet. Number two, it really sounds like they like Dayball, and I think that they're going to want to go with an offensive mind after just leaving McDermott, a good defensive mind. So
And he flipped Josh Allen. I think he had a lot to do with it. Like he turned that switch on Josh Allen. And side note, everybody probably puts it in the back burner, but yeah, we got Flores from the Steelers. He was the linebacker coach, so they already know him.
right.
So that makes him kind of a favorite to go there. They interviewed him, right?
Yeah.
I
Now
guess it was probably a second interview.
they are interviewing McCarthy there tomorrow. Mike McCarthy. So there are other guys that the Steelers are looking at right now. And again, there's just a part of this where I'm going to have to see it to believe it when it comes to Brian Flores being a head coach again. His resume couldn't be better. It just seems like the league is continuing to blackball him and not pull the trigger on him as a head coach. Now, the second interview is the closest he's gotten, in my opinion. We'll see if the Steelers close that deal. And let's just say hypothetically they do close that deal. Are you okay, Dave, and all of our guests in the comments? Are you guys okay with Durante Jones as the new defensive coordinator? Personally, I think that's the best option because I would want to still see this Flores style attacking defense rather than just change the defensive scheme and go with a guy like Raheem Morris or the Jonathan Gannon, who was fired from the Cardinals, or whatever other defensive name you want to say. I think Durante Jones would keep the Flores style. So
Yeah, I would give that a 1-year window. I would roll the dice on that.
Skull Mafia says no. Who would you prefer, Skull Mafia? Give us a name. Dave, do you have any other names that you would be happy with? I just feel like Jonathan Gannon, Raheem Morris, like it wouldn't be the end of the world, but it just feels like it feels like a punch in the gut going away from this Flores defense, which has just been dominant. I want to give Skull Mafia says he would take Raheem Morris. It's fine. I just he's not going to be Flores, right? So it's obviously going to be a downgrade because he's not Flores. Whereas I feel like Durante Jones can create himself within the Flores scheme. He's been here. He knows his ideas. He knows the scheme. Like you said, Dave, here's your shot. What can you show me? Like, keep the scheme. That'd be interesting to me.
I remember when Zimmer had his eye problem and he had to sit out a game, and his defensive coordinator by name only came in and called plays, and I thought we had like the best defensive game of the year when he came in. So I do feel like the protege can do a good job, and not named Donna Shell, but
yeah.
But I'd like to see that. I would really like to see that, just to keep that defense the way it was. And I don't think it was any. I think those last 5 games of the year is probably the best, stretch of defense he, had, considering how pathetic our offense has been, and we won all those games. So I would love to see it. Now there's a little nugget is that the last time there was like 10 coaching jobs is the year we opened, where we that's when we got O'Connell, and of those 10 coaches, only 2 are left: Tampa and the Vikings, which is crazy. And this year's a little different. It seems like all the coaches that there's a lot more coaches that got fired that are good head coaches or quit. Are good head coaches and should land elsewhere, taking up some of those jobs, right? So, and we've already seen that with Harbaugh and the Giants. So I think there's a lot more quality of coaches that got let go. They weren't fired because they were bad coaches. It was just like their time is up, or they chose to leave themselves, like Tom.
Yeah, I agree. So speaking of defensive coordinators, Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator for the Packers, accepted the head coaching job for the Miami Dolphins. I personally think that's a huge blow to the Packers defense. I think Jeff Hafley was a great defensive coordinator. He did really good things for that Packers defense. And again, they are looking for Durante Jones as a potential replacement. So, I think that will be a hit for the Packers going forward next year. How much of a hit do you think that is, them losing what many consider to be a very good coach?
Yeah, a big hit. Just because their quarterback is a roller coaster from game to game. Their offense isn't consistent like it should be. They need their defense to be steady from the go, and if that goes, then it could be a little more rough. Now, I do think their head coach is a really good head coach. So
yeah, so you would have extended him. There was a lot of Packers beat members who wanted him fired, and I was really surprised because I also think he's a great offensive coach. And I think they should have extended him, but it was kind of surprising to me that a lot of the Packers faithful wanted Matt LaFleur gone. But yeah, I'm on your side. I would have extended him.
Yeah. Now, I did hear that the what's his name? You said the defensive coordinator Hafley, that he might take the OC away from them, even though he doesn't call the plays.
Oh, well, that's good. Just keep gutting the Packers, and they're probably gonna get Malik Willis down there, I would assume, to follow him down to Miami.
No, Malik Willis has turned out to be a pretty good backup quarterback, right?
Yeah, he's been good.
Now, one of the things about Durante going to another team, right, is that it took a while for this defense to really, really come together, and it's not easy. So, going somewhere else is not it may not work, right? Going to
Right.
another team that doesn't have buy-in or personnel. He finally started getting personnel that worked for this defense.
Yeah. I think Durante's best chance to succeed is to stay here, right, where he knows the personnel, he knows the system.
They know the defense, right? So it's
Yeah. Staying within the division, the Lions hired the offensive coordinator. Is it Mike Petzing? I think his name is Max Petzing.
Yeah.
From the Cardinals. The Cardinals fired him, and I listen to the Fantasy Footballers podcast for my fantasy football needs, and they're all Cardinal fans. They're down there in Phoenix, and they hated that offensive coordinator. And so when the Lions went out and got him, kind of made me feel good. Like, oh, great. Like, I feel good about that. I think this is a guy who has a good chance of being bad. And when I dug a little deeper, he is pretty good in the run game. So I think, it bodes really well for Gibbs. But we'll see, man. I think that there was better hires out there for the Lions. That doesn't inspire a lot of confidence. And I saw Lions Twitter kind of explode about it to where they weren't super excited.
Well, it's like Zimmer when he was defense coordinator for Atlanta. It's like, am I ever going to get another job again after that debacle?
You mean the Cowboys? Was Zimmer in Atlanta?
No, before when he was playing under I forget what coach. He ended up quitting halfway through the season. I think it. So yeah, Zimmer swore. I forget the name of the coach.
I remember he was in Cincinnati for the longest time, and
for 1 year he was the defensive coordinator in Atlanta. And the coach quit mid-season, walked out, leaving players notes, leaving like notes in their locker, like a letter saying he was leaving. Didn't face the team, and and basically just that really screwed up his could have potentially really screwed up his career. So that taste of being in a bad situation. Maybe it's not necessarily all him, right? So. Yeah, people Lions might have looked past that and liked his philosophy or had maybe fit more with their personnel. So I couldn't judge that, but yeah, I could see why, as a Lions fan, you would like, oh my God, you just got somebody from the Cardinal, or, yeah, I could see that being a disappointment. But again, if a lot of times if you look past it, now I want to look up the name of that fucking coach. He quit mid-season. He was a college coach.
This was before he came to the Vikings, right?
Yeah, I think it was before Cincinnati.
Okay, so it was a long time ago. So Bob was saying
I think it was his first defensive coordinator job, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Bob was thinking it was Dallas, but I think you're right. I just can't remember who it was, but it was before his Cincinnati days when he was still young.
Zimmer. Because in interviews he called him like I think he called him a fucking
traitor or something.
Yeah.
I think I remember that. Just don't remember who it was.
NFL and then 2000, Bobby Petrino.
Yeah.
2007.
And he went to like Louisville or something to coach. Yeah. And then Norv Turner walked out on us, didn't he? Or no? Yeah.
Norv Turner quit mid-season, but because he just wasn't getting along with Zimmer.
Yeah, just flat out quit. There was
the 8-8
rumors.
Season.
There's rumors
that 5-0.
There's rumors that somebody punched Mike Zimmer in the eye. Because like it's not easy to detach a retina, which is what Zimmer had. Like usually that takes trauma.
Well, yeah, but I think it was from his coaching card. The wind blew and it scraped his eye.
Do we believe that detached his retina, or that just scratches an eyeball? But it wasn't his retina detached.
Fuck, man, I don't know. I believed it. I didn't have any reason not to believe it.
I thought there was more going on there. So staying with coaching hires, a couple fun things. So first of all, John Harbaugh to the Giants. I love that move for John Harbaugh. I love it for the Giants. Like the Giants are going to be a very fun team with Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterbo, Neighbors. They have a really great defensive line. That team's going to be pretty good pretty soon, in my opinion. And honestly, like the G-men, in terms of NFC teams, like we talk about NFC East teams, I don't mind when the Giants are good. You know what I mean? I don't like the Eagles. I don't like the Cowboys. Commanders with Jaden Daniels. I like Jaden Daniels, but I don't know. There's something about history with the Giants. Like, I don't mind when the Giants are good.
So this is the Giants. They suck, and then all of a sudden they have a good team.
Mm-hmm.
We're like good, and then we have like one great team like every 8 to 10 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're always pretty decent. Giants will suck, all of a sudden be great.
Mm-hmm.
And win the
like
fucking
really
Super Bowl.
great, like Super Bowl great. Yeah, you're right.
Well, and even they're mediocre. They're like 10-win team, but they win the fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah,
but they have a great run at the end.
But I love John Harbaugh as a coach. So good for him. Good for the Giants. I think that's just a good marriage. They're going to be exciting sooner rather than later. And then
need a guy that can handle the press there too.
Yeah, I think you're right. And John is totally that guy. He's got the respect already that New York media is not going to screw with John.
What about Buffalo? Losing
Buffalo.
Buffalo, fuck, that was one play call away from kicking a field goal. You call that an interception. It's just like, I don't know how that's an interception when you catch the ball and you go to and you're on the ground, and the guy's on top of you, and he takes it away from you.
Yeah, that play was very iffy. Personally, like watching it in real time, I don't know if the offensive player ever truly had it 100%.
Well, that's the thing. They called it, right, interception, and there's no evidence to overturn it. Right? That's what their thinking is. But there's like two other plays in that I saw during that same weekend that they call it the other way.
Yeah, and Richard Sherman came out and he was like, "This always goes to the offense. What are we doing here?"
Yeah, and it's happened earlier too. And then it's same way with like Van Ginkel getting that fumble from the Lions quarterback when he went over the top of him. And I'm thinking he should be immediately down, but they gave us the ball. So I don't know. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't.
The Lions game, we had like 5 turnovers, and Van Ginkel, there was like a fumbled snap, and he goes to get on the ball, and then Van Ginkel gets on, he rolls over the top of him, and he ends up with the ball.
Oh, yeah,
he gives the ball to his kids in the end zone.
I think I was having Christmas dinner during that turnover.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why it was fuzzy for me. I had to watch a replay.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Let's talk about the Harbaughs. Jim Harbaugh. They just hired the head coach from the Dolphins who just got fired. What's his name?
Oh, is their OC?
Yeah, he's their OC now. What's his name? Help me out in the comments.
Dangerous.
Mike something? The funny guy who's like just the most McDonald something?
Yeah, is it Mike McDonald?
No. Oh man.
What?
Help me out in the comments. The comments always saves me.
I live here. Yeah.
McDaniel. Mike McDaniel. Yeah. So Mike McDaniel is going to be the new OC with Jim Harbaugh in LA. And man, that's going to be fun with him and Herbert. That's going to be a lot of fun. That running game, Hampton is their running back. I think Hampton's going to have a great year next year. That team's going to be a good team. And when they were one and done again in the playoffs, a part of me was like, hey, should the Vikings, try to ship McCarthy over to his guy, Jim Harbaugh, and, send him a first-round pick or two to get Justin Herbert? Because I think Herbert is like the perfect KOC quarterback. He's tall, can throw all layers of the field type of thing. But with this type of move, no, I think this means, hey, first of all, they got rid of Greg Roman, who, funny stat, has always been Jim Harbaugh's offensive coordinator throughout his years in the NFL. He was his OC at the Niners together, and then he brought him in for the Chargers. So that was his guy, and he fired his guy, which speaks volumes. And they go out and get Mike McDaniel now. I think it's going to be fun as hell. So some fun hires during this carousel.
Yeah, it's definitely a good hire. I knew he would be an OC somewhere if he got fired.
I just want to point out that I responded, and you, as a general rule, you shouldn't like tweet out at players or like parents players on Twitter. I totally understand that. Be respectful if you are, but so we should talk about this. Jordan Addison got in trouble, got arrested for trespassing at a it was like 3:45 in the
I've
morning or
been to that
something.
casino. It's Tampa.
Okay.
It's Tampa. It's in
Hard
Tampa.
Rock, right? It's the Hard Rock Casino in
Yeah, it's
Tampa.
Seminole Hard Rock in Tampa, or outside of Tampa.
So he was 3:45 in the morning. They arrested him. The report basically said they asked him to leave several times. He didn't want to. He was resisting. They just arrested him. They charged him with trespassing. It came out today that the state of Florida is dropping the charges against Jordan Addison, and Jordan Addison is looking to file a civil claim suit for wrongful arrest. Okay. And then Jordan's dad on Twitter, Rolando Addison Sr., retweeted it and basically did like the hell yeah type of emoji, right? Like, that's right. Like, he wasn't in the wrong. Good on my son, blah, blah, blah. And then I just responded, still, let's not stay out till 4 a.m., sir. That's all I said, right? Like, good for your son. Good for Jordan Addison. He's safe. He didn't break the law in the state of Florida. But still, nothing good happens after midnight. I'm not even saying 1 or 2 a.m. Like, just don't be out till 4 a.m., right? Like, come on. And then I got someone responding to me, he's an adult. And then I said, well, then it's time to start acting like one. Like, drop mic, right? Like, let's go. It's just, the guy needs to grow up. He absolutely needs to grow up. This is strike 3. He drove 140 miles per hour on the highway because his dog was sick. Got pulled over for that. He fell asleep drunk on an LA off ramp on the highway. Got in trouble for that. Got arrested for that. And then there's this incident that happened at 4 a.m. at a Hard Rock hotel or casino. And yes, the charges were dropped, but that doesn't change the fact that you still got arrested at 4 a.m. Like, this isn't normal. It's time to grow up, sir. And if you're the Vikings, I don't think you can give him a long-term contract. I don't think you can trust a guy like this, which unfortunately means that you should probably trade him. And it sucks to say because he's been a good player for us when he's on the field. He did have a down year this year. But what are your thoughts, Dave? Do you agree with me?
What was the name of the defensive tackle? Ran a touchdown back. It was on her with the glasses and had the oxygen after the long touchdown run. Who recent defensive tackle?
What'd you say? Long touchdown run?
Yeah, it was on her. It was on her. It was on her song.
Linval Joseph.
Linval Joseph. When he came to the Vikings, he got arrested outside of he got roughed up. He got falsely arrested. So it happens. He fought it and won. So there was a whole big thing back then. And it was his first year with us. So far, things that he's done has been immaturity rather than flat out like what Hill does here in Miami, beating up women and shit. It's a little bit different. I could see trading him, to just give him another opportunity somewhere else. Like, it's not working, he's not learning from it here. He continues to do something stupid. But this, I don't see it as being. I think this team handles distractions really well. I don't think he's been a huge distraction per se. He is not the leader on the team. He's not I don't know. It doesn't feel like anybody's following his path or anything like that. He's still, in my opinion, extremely young. I've done stupid shit at that age. I get it. I could see trading him more of as hey, hedge our bets, limit our risk. We could put our money towards our other receiver, and then we could look to the draft. But we're pretty light, I think, at receiver depth, honestly, to where it could really haunt us to trade him off rather than really saying, hey, you got one more chance with us. You got one fucking chance with us, and hopefully that sets in. Now, yeah, when I heard the word trespassing, I'm like, at a casino, I'm like, people get trespassed all the time, especially at casinos. I don't know what he did. Was he loud and he refused to leave? I guess he just refused to go when they asked him. And then he get trespassed and.
Mm-hmm. At 4 a.m. at a noodle bar in the casino.
And a noodle. Well, it's 4 of them. At least it's 24-hour casino, so we got one here too. But yeah, I mean, it's not a good look. It's
not a good look. and it's not the same thing as speeding 140 mile per hour or driving under the influence. It's not putting his life at risk, but it's just a tone deafness. It's an immaturity. It's not putting yourself in the situation is what it is.
He's gradually having lower risk of, of the shit he does.
Yeah.
Next time he might get a parking ticket.
Yeah. He's just got to grow up, dude. And they've talked to him and they've talked to him. They suspended him. They fined him. I don't know what's going to get through to him. I really don't. Dude, you're playing for uber amounts of money that you're
Where the
potentially.
Fuck's TMZ? Where's the video? There's got to be a video. It's a freaking casino.
That's a really good.
Where's TMZ?
Question.
They should be paying for that shit. Get that out there. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So, thank you for coming to my TED Talk about an immature 24-year-old Jordan Addison. I think we're all on the same page with that one. You'd like to see him turn around. How are we supposed to have faith in the kid at this point? He keeps proving us wrong. And to be honest with you, his play wasn't good enough last year to deal with the horse shit. He wasn't. His drop weight was stupid high. Stupid high. So.
And they were like, really, some of them were like, how the fuck did you drop that?
Well, an NFC North team will not win the Super Bowl this year, Dave, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. Skull.
Yeah, that touchdown by the Bears when he's scrambling and he throws at the back of the end zone kind of reminded me of what's his ass from Florida State quarterback. What's his name?
Florida State quarterback, Jameis Winston.
Crab legs. Yeah, Jameis Winston. Just reminded me how Jameis Winston plays. Throw that shit. Was there a push off? Because on the clip,
little bit, but not enough to call it. Yeah, the corner kind of screwed it up. But to the corner's defense, you see this quarterback retreating down to midfield. You don't expect him to throw a ball to the back corner running backwards. You know what I mean? You got to give it to Caleb Williams that was just such a throw. What a awesome throw. Not great to retreat 20 yards straight back, but he probably didn't have a choice based on how the pass rush looked. I'll say this about the Bears in general here. I live in Chicago. I have a lot of exposure to their fans and the area here. What started out as a bad team at the beginning of the year that found a way to beat other bad teams by winning turnover margin and running the ball well, developed into a pretty good team. A team that beat the Eagles in their own stadium by running the ball down their throat. And, a team that we should have beat twice, frankly, right? But we caught them week 1 into the Ben Johnson system. That was a great time to catch them at home. But then the second game in Minnesota, we should have absolutely won that game, even though our quarterback played like shit for the entire game. But it was a Duvernay return that got them to pass midfield and set them up in a field goal range to take that game. But after that, the Bears really came a long way, and their defense started really playing better despite really not having a good pass rush and finding ways to win games. and it became less about them having to destroy the turnover margin to win the games. And it became more of Caleb Williams starting to look comfortable out there. And this might suck for us Vikings fans for many years in the future. I will say that Caleb did show me he could play in better structure with Ben Johnson, and it does look like that's a marriage that is going to work, unfortunately. However, there's still a lot of inconsistency to Caleb Williams' game where it's 2nd and 6, and he's got an out route for 7 yards on 2nd down that he just airmails, right? Like, he needs to be able to hit that stuff and not this goofy backyard football stuff every single time to be successful going forward. And I hope he doesn't take that step, because that would be bad news for us. But no, I just wanted to give the Bears their flowers this year. They won the division. Ben Johnson showed us that he is a really good coach. And this division just got tougher because the Bears are no longer a joke. What are your thoughts, Dave?
This bothered me. Gotta do your homework, Dave. Some of you may not realize this.
About what?
I have a condition, and some of the symptoms are brain fog and memory loss. I'm currently experiencing that right now. So just bear with me. That's why I don't do daily content anymore. I used to do a video every day.
But also, when you're on the mic and you're talking on a show, it can be difficult sometimes for me without brain fog to come up with a name, like Mike McDaniel earlier. You're on the spot, right? It's challenging at times. You're doing a great job, partner.
Right now, I'm sweating through my shirt.
No, you're doing just fine. Happens to me all the time.
What was the question?
My question to you, after my props to the Bears this year for proving me wrong personally and how good they could become this year, was, I guess, just give me a few thoughts on the Bears going forward and Caleb Williams and what you saw out of Caleb Williams' growth. And let's end that with asking you going forward and ranking the threats, Packers, Bears, and Lions going into next year, without free agency and the draft and all that kind of stuff, just kind of where these teams stacked up by the end of the year. How do you see those threats lining up?
Yeah, I thought Ben Johnson just turned the team around, and kudos to him starting out 0-2 and making this happen. And yeah, I was wrong. I picked him last instead of first. It's my tire guy is probably gonna give me shit forever. Yeah, he is a real deal. I do feel like he could. Yeah, I think he could still be pretty inconsistent. I mean, he didn't play well against us. The only thing he did really well was scramble, and so he can beat him if Flores had his number, and if we kept Flores, I feel like we got a great chance against them. It's yeah, I think they've got something there. But again, I remember how people was mad at Kirk Cousins for having 8 comeback wins. That why can't you just get a big lead and win it all? Well, he had 6 comeback victories this year. So a lot of that again is things happening right in the fourth quarter for them to come back and pull out a win. There's I think they should have lost it had 2 big comebacks. One was against the Packers, right? Sorry, I didn't do my homework there. And I'm just thinking it off the cuff right now. But if I remember right, the Packers
playoff wild card game against the Packers.
Did they lose both games to the Packers this past year, or did they win one of them?
They split.
Yeah, because I think one of them was a comeback win, right? One of them was a comeback win.
That sounds correct. I don't remember. It was it was second to last game of the year.
Yeah, I think that was a surprise comeback win.
I think you're right. I think they did come back at the end of that game, because the playoff game is fresh on my brain, so it's hard for me to remember the regular season one. But I think they did come back at the end of that game in the fourth quarter to win that one as well. So wow, the Packers blew 2 fourth quarter leads against the Bears in 2 times within 3 weeks, I believe.
Yeah. But yeah, they had the running game going, and they had to, they ran the ball well most of the season, so that really helped him. Just Ben Johnson, I think it's going to rub the rest of the league the wrong way, especially the Packers. The way like after the win, he
The
yells "fuck the,"
handshake.
well, the handshake, and then he yells "fuck the Packers" in the locker room after the game. It's like, would I want to see O'Connell say "fuck the Packers"? I don't know.
I
I just
think
don't.
we'd get up for it. I think we would. I think we'd like it.
Yeah, yeah, but
It's
geez,
not O'Connell's style, but
yeah, I
I think
know.
if we had a coach that did that, we would buy
Johnson makes me
into it.
feel like he's trying too hard, right? I just feel like that just makes me feel like a head coach is trying too hard.
I'll
And it
say
seems like,
this. You got to back that up with winning.
yeah,
You cannot do that shit and not
yeah,
win.
I would be it. Yeah, I would be if I was Packers, I would be way after. Well, not like they already are, but remember I said as the Packers own the Bears, right? And then they ended up losing, so I actually picked this game wrong. Like I thought I had the Packers winning, and they should have won. Right? They should have won.
They should have won. Yep. So going forward, to me personally, I think the Lions with a fourth place schedule, that's a sneaky pick to win the division next year because they're still a good team. They just need to be able to protect Jared Goff up the middle. And that's something they should figure out in the offseason. And we'll see if this new offensive coordinator has a plan against the cover zero look. They did not have a plan this year. That's why we punched them in the mouth twice this year on defense. We made them look like dog shit 2 different times. And Flores comes back. That's going to be such a big deal for the Vikings next year. Quarterback play, it's still a mystery. I'm on the train that we should still ride McCarthy and let him progress and see what he's got in his 23-year-old season. I'm not of the mind where we should go out and be spending capital to go get a guy like Kyler Murray or Mac Jones. I just don't like that idea. I think that's how you end up with a ticket to the playoffs, but not a playoff win. And that's not what I'm interested in personally. What I'm interested in is ride with McCarthy. If you suck, okay, well, draft your next guy. It's supposed to be a great quarterback class. Or if he's good, see how high he can take you, right? That's where I'm at. But I do expect the Bears to be, maybe even a little bit better next year. They're probably going to find a pass rusher next year that they can pair with Montez Sweat. Hoping it's not Max Crosby. That would be a problem. And in terms of the Packers, I like the Packers, but the issue with them is, we talked about it, Halfley's gone. So their defense could take a step back. So the lane is open as long as we get Flores back. That's a big if. But if we get Flores back, I still like the Vikings' chances next year for making the playoffs.
I would like them like I liked them going into this year. This year was a disappointment, but I would feel optimistic like I did going into this year. If we didn't have the injuries, I think, we could have been a 10 or 11 win season. 10 wins would have made the playoffs.
It was a really interesting show that Thor put on today on Purple Daily, where he looked at the games where we knew JJ McCarthy got injured, and he looked at how his stat lines looked like after the clear injury that took place. So he's looking at Atlanta. He's looking at the Packers game after he was concussed. He's looking at the Ravens game after he hurt his hand. And he's looking at the Giants game after he hurt his hand. And he's basically took those stats and just wiped them because they were all really bad after he was injured. And he looked at, and then he kind of extrapolated, like if he played this way that we saw him play without the injuries and we made that a 17-game pace, these are what his numbers would have looked like on the season. And they were basically comparable with the other quarterbacks in that class, like Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, whatever. And I'm like, that's an interesting thought experiment that, number one, JJ McCarthy missed a lot of games to injury, but he also played injured quite a bit this season. It's like, I would like to see what he looks like healthy, stringing together a lot of healthy weeks. And part of the issue was he has to change his play style, just like Jackson Dart has to change his play style. He cannot take the hits that he took this year. When he scrambles, he has to be careful. He has to get down. But I do think
he's got to throw away the ball.
He's got to throw the ball away for sure too. And then we kind of buried the lead. We should have led with this earlier. We were talking about coaching changes. but the Vikings are not bringing their offensive line coach back.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
He was our run game coordinator. This is a huge topic. We're 15 minutes into the show. We did not talk about this yet. I really hope that they go after Ledford, who's the running back coach from Atlanta, who just got let go because they're hiring Bill Callahan there in Atlanta. This guy is very good in the run game for Atlanta. He's highly respected in the league, and usually the offensive line coach is your run game coordinator. So that would be a big hire for us. I'm really hoping they go get this guy.
And he's the running backs coach?
He was the offensive line coach for Atlanta.
Oh, okay. I thought you said he was the running backs coach.
But he's the run game coordinator.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, that seems like a good hire because I mean I watched some Atlanta and they had two backs there. One was their short yardage guy or and Bijan Robinson was the home run hitter. They used both of them 2 years ago, not very well. This year, or 3 years ago, not very well. 2 years ago, they got better, and then this year there was really good success, I think, in the ground there. So I think that got improved. I don't know how long he's been there. Again, I didn't do my homework. I'm flying off the cuff here, but yeah, really I saw some Atlanta. I saw some Atlanta games. What was that?
I said that comment really bothered you.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, you don't know what's going on with you don't know what's going on with somebody, man.
You're good.
Oh, is it? I mean, you notice I'm not interviewing people. Like it's like this show. I had different people on my show like every other day. I haven't had a different person on my show in over a year.
cut Dave slack because I sent him the show notes today at like 2 p.m. in between patients. Like, hey, this is what we're talking about today. And it was very vague notes. Like Brian,
I even had to correct him. What'd you call Addison? You called
it auto corrected to Adrian.
I did. I was just fucking with you when I texted you back. I knew it was. But yeah, that would be a good hire. I would like someone that really knows the run game, be a little more creative. I thought there were times this year that it would look really good. But again, consistency, a little more creativity. And
yes, creativity is the word.
We didn't screen it all. It seemed like we should, as much as we should.
I saw a stat that said that we were last in the NFL with motion on run plays. It's just line it up and go straight forward. I want some motion, man. Like Mike McDaniel, Ben Johnson, these guys are using motion in their run game to get some crack blocks, get some misdirection going. George says you are solid. I agree. Dave's the best. He's been doing this a long time. He's very good at what he does.
Thanks, George.
I'm the rookie. This is technically I'm probably 1 year in now with you, I would say. So I'm very much the rookie podcaster.
Again, when did we start last year?
Draft time, before draft time.
Really? I thought we didn't do anything last season.
I don't remember.
I remember texting you, hey, did you want to like have your own show? And you're like, yeah.
I think you had me on to defend a bad take or whatever I had on Kirk Cousins. I was coming at Cousins pretty hard. So it's definitely.
Well, I meant like when I asked you about the show, have your own show. But yeah, shit. It was like I don't know how many, 2 years ago that we got in that. Or I saw you chewing out some Kirk Cousins fan or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, aren't you a doctor?
Yep. Doctors have personalities too.
And you were like, we got into talking about Uber driving.
Yep. I drove Uber.
That's how I got rap. I don't know what he calls himself now. He was Purple Podcast. Geez, I forgot again. I forget my brain fog. Forget what he calls himself. Vocal Vike. He said something like, it's never Kirk Cousins' fault. I'm like, and I replied and I said, what are you talking about? Everybody says it's always his fault. And then we did a show like the next week. And then we did a recurring show for like a year and a half after that. So yeah, that's how I meet people, is that they were Kirk, they were anti-Kirk.
Yeah, that's
and
that's what
I do
the crowd
a show
was.
with them.
Yep.
Casey,
to end our show tonight, let's talk about the rest of the playoff picture. Who do you like for the Super Bowl? I think we're both gonna pick the Pats, right? Like, unfortunately, the Broncos are down to their backup quarterback. I'd be surprised if they can pull that out.
Yeah, it would be the Pats.
And then it comes down to Sam Darnold going to the Super Bowl, potentially winning the Super Bowl.
would that make a lot of people eat crow?
Oh my God, yeah. Or the Rams. Now, a lot of people like Seattle in that game, but the Rams can beat Seattle. They should have beat Seattle in Seattle if not for that really weird 2-point conversion play where the ball bounced forward and then nobody picked it up until a Seattle player just wandered over there, picked it up, and they gave him 2 points.
But like Seattle's like running on all cylinders, it seems right now, man.
Defensively, yes. Offensively, they're running the ball well, but Darnold's been bad for a few weeks in a row. He just hasn't had to do anything. So we'll see.
All 7 of the 8 cylinders.
Yeah. So I'm.
Yeah, that'd be a good Super Bowl.
Would you rather see Rams Patriots or Seattle Patriots?
I wouldn't mind seeing Darnold in the Super Bowl.
You want to see Darnold in the Super Bowl?
I wouldn't mind it. That would just be another thing that Vikings will talk about.
See, I like Stafford a lot. To see him going out on top, winning another one and retire, that'd be pretty cool.
That's why I like both those. I like both those scenarios.
I don't want to see the Patriots win. I do really, really like Drake May. I wish he was the guy that we could have taken. Unfortunately, we're just never bad enough to be in that spot to pick the guy that we want that high in the draft. I'd be happy for Drake May, but the Patriots have so much history of winning Super Bowls. I really don't want them to go win another one. And the whole Boston sports thing, it's like they don't need more championships there. So for me, it's Seattle or Rams. Go for the NFC team. Happy with either one of those teams. Not Sean Payton. Screw Sean Payton.
Oh God. I'm glad he is out.
Yeah.
I was really Shane. I wanted Buffalo.
Yeah.
So I hate any team. I root for every team who hasn't won a Super Bowl. I will root against them. That's like when Atlanta was up.
We don't want to be the last one
on the Patriots. I was like, fucking come back. And I'm actually Ubering that night, and I'm parked outside a bar, and I can see. I got that playing on my radio, and I just parked and watched the end of the fourth quarter through a window of a bar. And listening on Sirius XM, and they made that comeback. I was pretty happy, man. I was pretty happy that Atlanta didn't win, but Buffalo would probably be the only team that hasn't won a Super Bowl that if they got into the Super Bowl, I would root for them. Any other team like Detroit, fuck no.
I agree.
Atlanta,
because
no.
I love Josh Allen. Is that your reasoning too? You just love Josh Allen?
No, I just we were the first team to 4 Super Bowls, but first team to lose 4, and then they're the first team to lose 4 in a row.
Yeah,
I feel like kindred spirits, and like if they can do it, we can do it. So that's my only reason. The only reason is I have a soft spot for Buffalo, and I played with them, and when I played Tecmo Super Bowl, I played with Buffalo.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, great show. We made it an hour. Next week we'll get together again, and we'll hopefully have some new talking points. Hopefully Brian Flores coming back to the Vikings as our defensive coordinator. And probably time for another mock draft next week. So we'll have that coming along as well. And if you guys are looking forward to anything, you want to discuss any topics, just come back to the show next week, throw it in the comments. We'll have an open forum and talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. It's your show. So thank you guys for joining us for another week of House Calls. I'm the Skull Doc. Joining me as always, my great friend and always, knowledgeable and well-prepared Dave.
I do my homework. Next year, I'm going to go memorize every player on the Vikings past and present and future, and every player in the NFL, and even the most random ones. I'll have it completely memorized by next week.
I want practice squad kickers committed to memory for all 32 teams. Yes.
Backup quarterbacks on that played on 7 teams. I got that fucking name, Jameis Winston.
And you know what? Just in case, know the quarterbacks in the UFL too, just in case they're pulled up.
Yeah, Sloter.
There you go.
Yeah, he was on the USFL.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Skull. We'll catch you next week.